Well, more tributes now, and photographer Matthew Willman has documented images of the late former president. He joins us now from our Cape Town studio. Matthew, your feelings when you heard the news that Madiba had passed on last night?
The last 12 hours of my life has just been an incredible journey of emotions. I was woken just after 12 o'clock midnight and was told this news by a colleague friend of mine. And every hour on the hour, it was just something new. As the news came in, as people were sort of moving around the story, around the world, emails started flooding in. And this whole morning, I was at Bishop Tutu's service this morning in St. George's in Cape Town, and it's just grown. And I don't think the entirety of everything has dawned on me yet. I think it will in the days to come.
I think the same holds true for many of us. It hasn't really hit home yet, just going through the motions a lot of the time. Matthew, how did you get involved? Or how did you get involved in photographing and documenting Madiba and his life in pictures?
No, thank you for asking. As a young chap, about 14, 15 years old, I really committed my life to going out there to document as a photographer who we are as a people. And my journey was to Mandela, and always has been. And to work as a commissioned photographer to the Nelson Mandela Foundation Centre of Memory, it's been about archiving and researching this man's life, from all his trial notes and all his personal notes through to Robben Island and Mqunu Mvezu. This man's incredible legacy. So I've grown up from the age of 23 for the last 10, 11 years, documenting Nelson Mandela and his life through photography.
So how close were you to the man himself, not just behind the lens, but over and above that?
You know, when you photograph, it's always about a relationship. It's always about, it's not so much always about the access, but it's about being around a person that they're relaxed and they're comfortable and they just know. You know, Madiba has been photographed by many, many well-known photographers around the world, and I think he's very comfortable in front of the lens. A relationship, it's teamwork. I have an incredible relationship with the Mandela Foundation, and it's always been very respectful of his space, who he is, what he represents, and just being a fly on the wall. So I might go into his office or wherever we photographed him and document him for an hour, 2 hours, and come out not saying a word to him. And yet you just feel like you've really sat and you've absorbed, still waters run deep, and just listening to him. It's just been an amazing journey over the last 10 years to have this privilege of this young guy from Pinetown in Durban who had this privilege to work with such an incredible man, and the images to become known around the world, which is very special.
Any favorite or poignant moments you want to talk about? Anything that stands out for you in all of this time you've worked with him or photographed him?
There are two things, perhaps, if I could say, was, I'm not Archbishop Desmond Tutu, I'm not President Bill Clinton. I'm a young South African who chose to believe in this country, and I can't start sitting here saying all these great things, but what I can say about Mandela is the man that you see in public is the same man as he was in private. And I think that's a beautiful thing for an incredible man for a man to achieve. And the second thing is, he, on many occasions, when he was having a meeting with the president of the World Bank, or he was meeting with amazing people from around the world, he often called me Prince Harry, and it caught everyone off guard. And I think it's because every single photo shoot I did, I wore a suit, and it was my small form of respect to such an incredible man. So my books, Prince Harry.
Prince Harry. Well, we can sort of see the resemblance in a way. Anything that we don't know, and I know you said the man that we knew in public was the man he was behind closed doors, but was anything that might surprise us about him pleasantly that we don't know about Nelson Mandela, or his habits?
Habits, very, very meticulous, actually. Very aware of, no matter whether it's a crowd or just two people in the room. I was always very aware as a photographer. There was never a moment where he was not aware of who was around him. And as your previous guest, Dr. Ali Bakr, said, he always went to the smallest people in the room, and he always made them feel welcome. So, as I said, I don't think there are secrets. I think we truly know the man. I think we're very comfortable with what we know about him, and his legacy will live on through, obviously, many of my images, and just this experience of that I will take forward to young children. He absolutely adored young children. So for me as a photographer, I'm going to keep going out there. This morning I went to Khayelitsha and did a full shoot because it was the right thing to do, just to go out there and just be amongst the people.
Can you tell us when he was at his happiest in all the time you spent with him?
Oh, he loved his family, hey? He really loved his family, and the occasions where if he had a guest, and soon after one of the Mandela family members would come into the office or the lounge where he was, you know, he really loved his family, and I think it's great. And I think just as the Mandela family, it's the eldership which they drew off, and his, you know, this wisdom that abounded through him and with him and in him. And I think that's where I can honestly say he just loved, you know, being around his family members.
And what were the things that made him most upset?
Oh, wow, I don't know. Upset? I can't tell you. I've never been in a situation where Madiba's been upset.
If you had to pick one picture, Matthew, one that would be your favorite, that told the best story about Madiba, which one would it be?
You know, I spent 18 months living and working in and around Robben Island in 2002, 2003, and had the incredible opportunity of presenting that work to the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And it was a collection that started the Mandela Centre of Memory at an exhibition. And my very first photo shoot on the 13th of August, I walked into the room, and the first thing I said to Zelda and to Vern Harris at the Mandela Foundation was, look at his hands. You know, anyone who's been to Robben Island, anyone who's explored and gone further in this country, you realize that, you know, it's the hands that have touched the iron bars. It's the hands that couldn't touch his wife or his kids for all those years, 18 years in Robben Island and then in other prisons. I asked Zelda, may I lean over Madiba's shoulder and may I take this photograph of Madiba's hand? And she looked at me and then she says, okay, I just really want to hear one click of the camera. And so I had this privilege of going up to Madiba and literally leaning over his shoulder, and I took his hand and I placed it on his lap. And literally one shot. In those days, it was all film. So, you know, you have to be really sure exactly what you're doing. No digital coming in later years. I took this one shot of his hand, and it just went into archives, realizing that this image was an intimate shot, unique photo of Madiba that had been granted me, and it became the iconic logo of Nelson Mandela's 46664 HIV and AIDS campaign. Oh. So if you say to me an image, you know, we've got a million pictures of his face, great photographers, but just the opportunity to take a shot of this hand, which has become quite iconic. It's very special. It means a lot to a lot of people.
Wonderful, and I'm sure a lot to you as well, and very privileged you were indeed. That was documentary photographer Matthew Willman.
The African Union